The neighbor no one suspected. A true crime story, United States. For years, people living in a quiet Milwaukee apartment building complained about the smell. It came and went. Sometimes it was overwhelming. Sometimes it disappeared completely. Landlords blamed old pipes. Tenants blamed spoiled food. No one imagined the truth, because the source of the smell wasn't a maintenance issue. It was a man, and what he was doing inside his apartment would later be considered one of the most horrifying crimes in American history. This is the true story of Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in 1960 and appeared unremarkable from the start. He was quiet, withdrawn, and socially awkward. Teachers described him as polite but distant. Classmates remembered him as strange, but not threatening. Even as a child, Dahmer showed signs of deep isolation. He struggled to connect with others. He avoided eye contact. He spent long hours alone. His parents' marriage collapsed when he was young, leaving him emotionally detached and largely unsupervised. By his teenage years, Dahmer had become obsessed with death. He collected roadkill. He dissected animals. He preserved bones. These behaviors went largely unnoticed or were dismissed as morbid curiosity, but they were early warnings. After high school, Dahmer's life unraveled quickly. He failed out of college. He was discharged from the military. He drifted from job to job, drinking heavily and living in near total isolation. And then, in 1978, shortly after graduating, he committed his first murder. The victim was a hitchhiker. Dahmer strangled him and dismembered the body. He kept parts, and something inside him changed permanently. What followed was not a spree. It was a pause. For nearly a decade, Dahmer managed to suppress his impulses. He moved frequently. He stayed under the radar. He blended in, but the desire never left. And when it returned with control. By the late 1980s, Dahmer was living in Milwaukee, frequenting bars, particularly those catering to young men. He was shy, soft-spoken, and non-threatening. He often offered money for companionship. Many accepted. Few returned. Inside his apartment, Dahmer drugged his victims. He strangled them. He photographed their bodies. He dismembered them. He stored body parts in refrigerators, freezers, and containers. He experimented. He believed he could create a human being who would never leave him, a person without free will. Neighbors complained repeatedly. They called police about screaming. They reported foul odors. They mentioned strange behavior. Officers visited Dahmer's apartment more than once. They never searched thoroughly. At one point, a naked, bleeding teenager escaped Dahmer's apartment and ran into the street. Witnesses called police immediately. Dahmer calmly explained that the boy was his intoxicated partner. The officers believed him. They returned the victim to Dahmer. The boy was murdered shortly afterward. This moment would later be cited as one of the most catastrophic failures in modern policing. By 1991, Dahmer had killed 17 people. He was confident, careless, and then he made a mistake. One victim escaped. He ran to the police. This time, officers followed him back to the apartment. Inside, they found photographs, human remains, evidence so overwhelming that Dahmer did not resist. He simply said, "For what I did, I should be dead." The trial shocked the nation. Dahmer confessed fully. He showed no anger, no excuses, no denial. Psychiatrists diagnosed him with multiple disorders, but he was found legally sane. He was sentenced to 16 life terms. But the story doesn't end with conviction, because the real horror wasn't just what Dahmer did. It was how long he was allowed to do it. How many warnings were ignored? How many chances were missed? How many lives could have been saved? In prison, Dahmer claimed to find religion. Some believed him, others did not. In 1994, he was beaten to death by another inmate. He was 34 years old. Today, his apartment building has been demolished. Nothing marks the ground where it stood. No memorial, no plaque, just empty space. And the question this case leaves behind isn't just about evil. It's about neglect, bias, complacency. Because Jeffrey Dahmer did not hide in darkness. He lived in plain sight, and people looked away.